Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CarterMatt.com.
This video is our first viewing reaction for the Expanse Season 3, Episode 5, entitled Triple Point, which it feels a lot like you're watching basketball with somebody who doesn't know basketball, and they just say, okay, you've never even done this, but they're like, oh, that person just shot a triple point.
That sounds like something I would say.
Well, we need to get you to watch more basketball then. That way we can see if that happens. But no, this is an episode really about war, chaos, death.
Mutiny!
More death probably coming. But before we do anything else, if you like this video, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to Carter Matt on YouTube, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other updates that we have coming your way.
So normally we like to jump into talking about the Expanse, more about character stuff. So if you've been watching us the past couple weeks and our deep dive into the Expanse, a lot of our reviews are a lot more character based, and there's a reason for that. We've been watching shows and reviewing shows for a decade now as TV journalists. For me, I can't speak for Matt, but for me, I love amazing characters, and The Expanse does characters in a way that almost nobody else does. They have raised the bar to another level. So while there's a lot of really fun space battles and the ships look amazing and the story is really great, I am so involved in these characters that it doesn't overshadow everything else, but I'm so invested and my focus is so deep into them. So this is going to be a bit of a more interesting episode because I'm a person that loves good character, and I've seen good characters, I've seen terrible characters over the years, but The Expanse, it's in a ship of its own here with that. I'll give a good example of Vikings. Vikings is a show that I absolutely love. I think it's one of the greatest shows that I've ever seen. They do battles like I've never seen, and that's even with Game of Thrones. I'm throwing that out there. You can come fight me in the comments if you want. But when I review Vikings, which I've been reviewing for 6 seasons now, I typically don't talk about the battles the way that I would about the characters, because the characters are a lot like The Expanse, where I see a character like on Vikings with Agatha, who's been a wife and a mother. I've watched her become a warrior. I watched her become a queen, and then I watched her become a broken soul. It's these characters on The Expanse, and watching what they've gone through is a lot like that for me. So even though I love the characters, we're in an episode here that is really about action, the mutiny, the war. So I know if you're used to us talking about that stuff, there'll be a little bit of that, but this one's going to be a lot more about the action.
And well, I think even with the action, it's still informed by specific choices, because we're at the brink now of war between the U.S. and Mars. I mean, not the U.S., the UN and Mars. And really, I think a lot of this can be traced back to things that are done by specific individuals, whether you want to blame Aaron Wright, whether you want to blame Jupiter Mao. I mean, no matter who you want to blame, those people are there sort of at the forefront, and it is sort of the Aaron Wright video that is kind of the jumping off point to everything at the moment.
Yeah, it's making the rounds, and while some people were a little skeptical of it, of course, they're going to see this video and be like, man, I don't know. It feels like it's gotten into enough people's hands, enough people have been able to somewhat authenticate it or feel strongly enough that it's true, that it is informing people's decisions.
Yeah, well, it's causing, I think, the tide to turn a little bit, but not so much that we're actually in like a big kumbaya, UN and Mars are together, let's take out Aaron Wright sort of pact at the moment, though that would be fun. We're not there yet. Instead, though, we have the saga of poor Souther, who, you know, it's good to know the truth and knowledge is power, but sometimes knowledge is also apparently death, and that is what happens to Souther in this episode.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. We didn't get to know him that well, but he felt like one of the good guys that really did want to do the right thing and didn't want there to be a war based on lies.
Yeah, and we've seen everything with the Agatha King here or there the past few episodes, and I mean, we haven't talked about it that much, but I mean, a lot of that was mostly, I didn't know if this was like the Abergast 2.0, where I wanted to spend all this time getting invested and they were just gonna all disintegrate into some sort of like proto-molecule mass or whatever.
Disassemble!
Yeah, like,
I was not knowing that as well, and it's, that whole thing that happened with the Abergast has made it me a little more skeptical to try to get involved with certain new ships that come in and new people and new crews, because I'm afraid that this is going to happen. I'm going to become involved, and then Souther's going to get killed on me.
Yeah, and here we are, and he has gotten killed, but he tries his best to execute some heroism beforehand.
He did.
He gets the vital information that he needs, and he tries to use this in order to be like, hey guys, guess what? We don't need to do this war. This is an illegal war. This is nothing is as it actually seems here. Yeah. He makes his concerns public, and it seems as though at least, I mean, it's very quick. That's the thing with all of this. It all goes by so fast.
The chaos that was happening on that deck
was
intense.
Yeah. It just sort of went like one thing to the next thing to the next thing. It felt to me like he was winning people over, because I don't think people ultimately want war, at least for the most part.
No.
So I think some people were kind of inclined to hear his message. But then there's Nguyen, who was basically just like, no, this is not happening. And then Nguyen kills him. And
watching the crew turn on each other and then turn on each other again and back and forth like that, this scene was so intense and so chaotic. It was hard to keep track of who was on what side anymore, and they're all supposed to be on the same side, and they're not anymore. There's such discord going on within their own team. I felt the chaos.
And there's something very fun about a space mutiny too in general, because I feel like I use a lot of pirate analogies in this video. I'm starting to figure this out, but it's like
you do in life as well. I'll just throw that out there.
No, but like I feel like in pirate mutinies, you can just sort of throw someone overboard rather easily. It takes a lot more work to throw someone overboard a spaceship, because you have to like prepare it to like have them fire off and then have nothing else happen.
Float them out, bring them to the brig.
Yeah, like I feel like it's a little bit different. So I think a lot of times space mutinies are resolved a little bit different, and here they were resolved pretty fast. I mean, it wasn't even like Souther was trying to have a mutiny. He just wanted everyone to be on the same page and realize there was an error to their ways.
Yes, that there was definitely a problem that was going on, and there were secret communications that were happening, and things were not what they seemed.
And then we go over and get sort of like, I feel like this is always one of these sort of events where you watch the chaos from one point of view, and then like the news anchor is like, and now hold on, it looks like we're getting the Martian response to all of this right now, so let's go over to the Hammurabi, and here's what Carino is doing. And ultimately, the Martian response, and Carino, very, very, very smart, because it's basically just like, you know what? We'll just let them fight each other.
Yes, and it was an interesting response to see her sit back and say, okay, we'll just let them fight it out amongst themselves. They're shooting on their own ships. What is going on? She could have had a perfect opportunity while they're focused on each other to just go in there and wipe out as many people as she could, and chose not to do that because she has the message. She's seen the message. She knows what's going on, and decided to just let it play out a little bit.
And I think it's really another reminder that not everyone wants war in the world of Expanse, and I certainly think this is evidence that, you know, it's not like Mars necessarily just wants to murder everyone either. I think they want to be able to find their own way, and I think Carino even seems like on some level she recognizes that this is a chance to sort of build a bridge, and not necessarily, you know, a peace treaty, but hey, being at least like, you know, hey, if you're on a certain side of this, we want to be here to help you. You know, come to us and we'll help protect you.
Yeah, and what's going on with the protomolecule right now? We saw all those pods get shot out into space. That's not good. And whatever's going on Venus is growing. They're working into something bigger. That's not good. It feels like a larger story that's going to need to come together is that idea that she had, which is kind of a, hey, let us help you out. We don't need a war. I feel that Earth and Mars and the Belt are going to need to come together if they're going to stop this. The protomolecule is way bigger than one person, way bigger than even a large group of people. It feels like it's going to need the entire universe to come together to forge a plan of what they're going to do, instead of, oh, Earth wants to have a little protomolecule ourselves, and now Fred Johnson's got some, and, you know, some over here on Mars, and give it to everybody. Like, it's just a disaster. They're going to need to come together.
I feel like we're building towards season 4 being almost about everyone sort of working together against the protomolecule. It feels like, I mean, you've already brought up Game of Thrones, so we might as well go here already. Protomolecules, is this the White Walker of, you know, what's going on in the Expanse?
It feels like it kind of is.
Yeah, and so maybe we are going to be in a situation where all these other kingdoms are going to need to come together in order to have this happen. Does this make Aaron Wright Cersei Lannister? Because I kind of feel like that's where we're going now. But anyway, it feels kind of like we're going in that direction. It's just sort of a measure of when. I mean, we've already seen some of what's happening on Venus, and everyone is kind of busy with their own stuff, and it doesn't feel like they're all paying enough attention to what's happening on Venus.
No, and it seems like nobody can get close enough to Venus to really figure out what's going on, and if they don't, it's going to be a way bigger problem, because we don't even really know what's going on Venus. Are they working, as, you know, they've said, on this bigger thing? They're almost done, whatever this process is that's happening. Are they then going to be able to leave Venus? We just don't know everything that the protomolecule is capable of, that they can leave and go somewhere else and make it worse for everybody in the universe once they're ready.
And everyone's so distracted because it's like we have Holden and company, they're on Io, and which, by the way, it already looks like things are not going as planned on Io. Big shock.
Yeah, it's a big shock.
Yeah, in the world of Expanse, nothing is going exactly as planned. Like, you know, Strickland is busy thinking like, oh, May can be our new vessel, so they're just kind of fooling around with all that stuff.
Yeah, and they're trying to get in there to save her, and we don't know if that's going to happen, and they're all, like, at the doorway watching all this protomolecule get shot out into space, which is... You can see their faces. It was horrifying. I was also horrified. I'm like, oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God, this is so bad.
So now they're going to be dealing with that, presumably, instead of Venus. Earth and Mars are worrying about each other. And, you know, the awesomeness that is Drummer, like, she's focused on the Naboo and everything else right now. So it's just sort of like, you know, Venus is just, like, sitting here and just like, hey, what about me? And I don't know.
Working on whatever it's working on. Some big, giant proto problem.
And then at the center of it, there's Miller, and Miller's just like, hey guys, I'm still here, you know, I appreciate Jess not forgetting about me. And there we go. Okay, you don't want to know.
Never, I can't.
I don't know if you want to do the heart when Proto Miller shows up and like murders half of the characters we love.
I will still love him.
Okay, well, somebody will have to. I will be very angry. But, I mean, there's other stuff going on just individually, character-wise. Prax and Amos doing the shooting lessons. I feel like Amos is an interesting teacher for this. Very skilled, very accomplished, but emotionally, not the best emotional role model all the time.
No, but Prax is in his own way. And I know that we're seeing a little bit of a darker timeline with Prax right now, but let's be honest. His daughter is probably or possibly being tested on with this protomolecule. He's gonna lose his kid. Everything is not going well for him, and I think he's learning from his friendship that he's going to have to be a little bit hardened. Is he taking it a little too hardened? We did see him take that dead body and just throw it to the side like it was a sack of potatoes so that he could get to the supplies in the last episode. Now we're seeing him learning to shoot a gun, which is what needs to be done right now. But he's got revenge on the mind, that if he's unable to find his daughter in one piece, problems are going to happen for those people. And I actually am starting to feel that even if he finds those people, problems are going to happen for those people at the hands of Prax. And I think Amos is going to have his back.
I think he will. I think the big thing is just mostly, okay, is Prax going to be able to recover? Is Prax going to be able to bounce back and kind of find himself a little bit? Because this is sort of like a Holden season 2 thing. He's not going like full dark side Holden
he's
yet.
Not.
But he's sort of just like hovering somewhere in the middle ground. And it could be a turn. You walk that line and then you're not able to sort of jump back from it anymore.
Well, that's why I think Amos is going to come into play here. While he may be missing his empathy and he wants it back, he wants to find a way to undo what's been done to him, he can sort of see what's happening a little bit to Prax, and that even though he may not be able to empathize with it, he's able to understand it. And so because of their friendship and the way that it's developed, I feel like Amos may be able to help him get through it in a strange way. It may not be in a huggy kumbaya kind of way of like, hey, we can get through it together, but he may be able to just give him the bare bone facts of why you don't want to walk down this path.
Well, I think if nothing else, we're seeing all of this for a reason. I mean, it's typically, you see bonds form because they're building towards something, and I think we're building towards something more than shooting lessons here.
Yes.
Couple other emotional moments we have throughout. We have Alex getting a message from his kid, which was the total opposite of Alex getting a message from his wife, who was basically like, yeah, you're pretty much a horrible husband. I'm glad you're not dead, but, you know, you still are terrible.
Well, fair enough. I mean, if I got that message, I'm waiting on my husband. I get a message that's basically like, hey, so, yeah, I love you guys, but I love this more, and I'm not coming back kind of feel to it. Well, all right, then. I'm moving on, and, you know, see you never.
Yeah.
But when it comes to his kid, when I saw that message come in, I saw Alex have that pause for a moment where he went to go press it and was like, you know, I felt that through the screen. So when he did press it, I was happy to see that his son was, Dad, I was mad. I'm not mad anymore. I'm seeing it differently. You're my hero. And you could see that Alex, he knows that it's not exactly the way his son is seeing it. But I'm sure he's happy to know that his son doesn't hate him and is not mad at him, and that there is a possibility in the future that they will be able to have a connection.
I just wonder on some level if he feels almost guilty because his son, it seems like he's got all this affection for him.
He does.
But he's also sort of like, well, do I really deserve it when I haven't been spending all this time with him? You know, I know the work I think Alex knows the work he's doing is obviously important.
And it seems that his son also knows that, even though he doesn't exactly know what he's doing.
But it does come at a cost, and I'm sure that's something that is somewhere on Alex's mind, even if it's not present every second of the day.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if now that we're seeing more of Alex's family, are we building to something more with Alex's family coming up either later this season or next season, that there's going to be a little bit more. I don't feel like it's there for no reason. The show doesn't seem to put in any kind of filler. It's there for a reason. So I'm wondering how it's going to come into play.
Well, beyond just that now, we also have one other emotional moment here with Naomi and Holden where a lot of the cards are finally put down on the table and we start to really understand, okay, this is who Naomi is. This is what she's gone through with. She had this great love who was very OPA. They had a kid together, a boy named Philip, and eventually this boy was taken away from her because of ideological differences, and now Naomi is sort of just in this weird, vulnerable state, and I think she's trying in her own way to find this separate sort of purpose, and this was some powerful, really powerful stuff from her in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where she was coming from, that she joined the camp so that she could kind of become numb and move forward and find another path, but it's been nice to see that she understands she can't just become numb to something like that, and that she can feel that hurt and she can still move forward with that and make a difference and still be herself and still have all these things, that it's not always the best route to just numb yourself to everything, that feeling that pain can help you grow as a person, and it's helped her.
Yeah, and
but it's also helped her relationship with Holden. At least he did say he doesn't agree with what she did, but at least he has an understanding of what she did, and that's a bridge.
Yeah, it's a start. I mean, I don't know if they're necessarily going to become, future husband and wife, but I think we're at a spot where they have to be able to go into battle together and think one of them is going to help save the other one if something terrible happens.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like the bridge is being built back to being a team, at the very least.
Yeah, and they need that, especially knowing what we probably are going to see later on this season, which is a whole lot of chaos. You got to get people working together a little bit more than what we have right now.
Yeah, especially since we've seen over on the UNN everybody shooting each other.
Yeah.
And they're all on the same team, so we can't have that on the Rossi as well. They got to get it together.
No, they got to maybe go practice some praxis gardening or something to make them all relaxed.
And have some lasagna. It seems to bring everything
Lasagna
together.
cures everything. But, all right, well, we want to know from you guys, when you watched The Expanse Season 3, Episode 5 for the first time, what did you think? Share in the comments and give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking that link in the description to the Carter Matt store, and we'll see you here next time.